Alright, so we've looked at mouse events. Now let's take a look at some keyboard events. So in our template here, let's go ahead and I'm just going to create, let's see, we're just going to do an input here, and we're going to give this a type of text. And let's give this a, let's see, we're going to give it an event, and this is going to be a key up event. And we're going to set that to, let's say, fire event, just like we did with the mouse events. And yeah, so that should be good. Let's go ahead down here and create a function called fire event. Oops. And for now, let's just console.log. And we'll just log. Actually, you know what? We can pass in the event parameter here. And then we'll say e, and then e dot type. Okay, so now if I go in here and I push a key down and release, it's gonna, whoop, fire event is not a function. Oh, forgot the e right there. So now if I type in a key, it's gonna give us the event type, which is key up. If I just hold it down, nothing happens, but when I release, that's a key up event. Okay, we also have key down events, so let's go ahead and I'm actually going to just wrap this in a div. And then let's just copy that. And then I'm just going to change this to key down. And let's see what happens if I just hold the key down. Right when I push it down, you'll see that this fires off. Let's actually put some placeholders in these so we know what's going on here. So we'll say placeholder. This is going to be a key up. This will be a key down. All right, and there's other form events as well. So we have focus, so blur and focus. If you've ever used any JavaScript events, then you're probably familiar with those. Focus is when you actually click into the input. So what I'll do is copy this, and let's change this right here to focus. And we want to call fire event. Let's change the placeholder to focus. We'll save that, and then if I click inside focus, you'll see that that event fires off. Now the opposite of that would be blur, and that's if we're in the input and then we click outside of it. So let's change this to blur, and we'll change this to blur. And now if I click in it, nothing happens. When I click outside of it, it's going to call that blur event. Another one we have is cut. So let's copy that, and we'll go ahead and do cut. And what that is if we have some text in here and I go ahead and I do cut, it's going to call that event. All right, and then at the same time we have copy. So we'll change the event type to copy. All right, and now if I put some text in here, if I cut, nothing's going to happen. If I copy, the event fires off. And then you probably already guessed that we also have paste. All right, so let's change that to paste. And now if I go in here and I go ahead and I paste, it's going to fire off that event. So you can do some really cool UI stuff with these events. Now, just like with mouse events, we can also mess with properties of the component. So let's go down here and let's create a property called text. All right, and yeah, let's set that to a string, and then we're going to set it initially to hello. Okay, and then let's keep all these, but let's create another one at the top. All right, let's do it at the bottom actually. I'll put an HR here, and then we'll paste that in. And instead of calling fire event, let's call change text. Okay, and then that's going to take in the actual event. And let me just change the placeholder here. Okay, so let's go down here and we'll create a function called change text. That's going to take in the event parameter. And in here, let's do this dot text. And then what I want to do is change it to the actual text that's being typed in. So we can do that by using that e parameter, that event, and we can get from the target. Remember, we can get stuff from the actual element. We want to get the value of the text box. All right, and let's make sure we output that text value somewhere. So we'll go into here, and let's just put in an H2 here, and we'll just say text. All right, so we'll save that, and now as I type, you'll see that the property changes, and so does this right here, because this is the text property. So as I change that, that will also change. Now, this is basically one-way data binding. If we wanted this to be two-way data binding, we could make it so that whatever is in this text value will also be in the input. So all we have to do is add a value, and we can set that value to text. All right, so if we save that, you'll see that hello is in there, and also whatever I type in there will output here. All right, now there's a better way to do two-way data binding, and that's by using ng models. So I'll show you how to do that in the next video.